Okay, hello and welcome. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience, but hello and welcome. I'm very sorry for the inconvenience, but these things happen and they can happen at the most inconvenient time. So I've decided today to stream this video with Barrandov terraces behind me because Barrandov is in the Czech memory the symbol of the culture, of the rich culture and the happiness of the interwar years. Um, for those who had been present, for those 5 people who had been present on last presentation, on the last lecture, we've talked about the First World War and the shift of the First World War in memory. So today we'll start our presentation about the interwar years and how different nations view in different time periods the interwar years with a short clip. So I hope you can see it. And I hope you can hear it. The settings. I'm sorry. Where's the settings? Just to make sure, I'm sorry. The sound is really important and I don't want you to lose it. Okay. Well, the graphic record is not authentic, of course. It is a reconstruction of how it could have been, and the reconstruction is created upon the assumptions we have about the First World War. So now that the First World War, the Great War, as the British and French named it, we can focus on the interwar years. Let me show you the presentation for today. The first thing that you need to understand is that our notion of the interwar years as the interwar years was not shared by the people living in those interwar years. They were the post-war years. The historian Reynolds explains this very poignantly in his documentary, which I recommend to everybody. From you?
Today, that reaction to Journey's End as a plea for peace may seem to us rather pathetic, even tragic, because we know, with hindsight, that in 1939 the world was plunged into another great war. For us, the 1920s and 1930s are the interwar years. But we have to remember that for the people who lived through them, they were the post-war years, when the future still seemed open and even hopeful.
It is rather sad when you realized that the people who lived through the horrors of the First World War did not know what's in front of them. They started to build a future. And after the First World War, they had to go through a series of terrifying changes. The society changed completely. After the 1989, with the fall of communism, the Central Europe, and with the little respect of Western Europe, went back, but not to the 19th century. The world we came back, for example, we in the Czechoslovakia in 1989 was the world of the post-war years, because the changes that the Great War started formed the 20th century. What changes were there? The changes in society, democracy, the first true democratic elections in all the states, in all Europe, happened during the First World War or after it. What I mean with truly democratic, that means no census, no requirements for wealth and money, and definitely, apart from, for example, Switzerland, who legalized female voting in, I believe, 1970s, most of the European states let women have a say in the elections only either during or after the First World War. That's a huge change because now half the electorate, the number of people who could vote, was doubled and even tripled in some cases. So that's a big change, and it changed everything. The society changed. There was a certain family and sexual revolution, and the rise of capitalism, the golden 20s, the roaring 20s, and all the states, the wealth, the investment in culture, the rise in culture, it was sparkling. It was, people wanted to forget the horrors. And some people, like in the Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia, or Poland, they were building their state for the first time. They felt like for the first time, the future of their nation is in their hands, and they set out to build it. So that was the 1920s. But then came the 1930s, the Great Depression. And it was a challenge that we can say that some states didn't overcome until the end of the communist era. The Great Depression changed the way we think about economics, and it showed to politicians what economical changes can do. And it's a ghost in our wardrobe. It's a ghost under every politician's bed. And you can hear about it, about the Great Depression, even today in political discussions. Why are the politicians afraid of food and energies and energetic provisions and rents going higher and higher? Some of them care for it because their voters care for it, and they are afraid to lose the votes. But some of the responsible politicians are afraid of this because the economical crisis is very quickly able to create radicalization in society, bring dictators and aggressive regimes. We've seen it, and what happened after the Great Depression is a scarecrow to mankind, and not only to politics but also to society. So that is the interwar years, and we will be talking today about them. I want you